So Ice Cube did an interview with Tucker Carlson.
You don't say.
And everybody's going crazy about it, or
they're going crazy about one part instead of listening to the whole interview. But that's fine, Mike.
Do you want to address the one part, or you want to just unpack the whole thing?
No,
might as well address the first part.
Yeah, let's talk about talk about the black and white of it all.
Okay. Some people in the chat say that. Well, Leroy Green said last episode, I think that was Monday. He said that Ice Cube was on the tap dance, and now that I didn't see.
I did not see a tap dancer. It seemed to answer everything pretty straightforward and thoughtful.
And I think, as far as that whole the race thing that I think everybody had issue with or took issue with, go ahead.
We just need to be mindful about how we carry each other in these spaces. That's what I mean. Is it's like, oh, don't say he was tap dancing because you don't like the rhetoric. That's not fair.
Yeah, you can disagree.
And that's part of what he was. And this is what I'm saying. Part of what he was speaking to, and this is part of it that I really, really do sincerely agree with. Oh no, I like looking my oppressor in the face, and I'm not scared of having a conversation with somebody that I can't stand or don't give a damn about
or don't agree with.
Yeah. Like this is what I mean about how everybody's soft as hell, Mike.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just call it what it is. Everybody's soft as hell, and it's not cool for you to even, like, sit down with your adversaries anymore. And it's like, I don't know, like, you know, like.
But this is why history is important.
You need to take it back to the duel of the Iron Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, this is why history is important. I mean, if anyone knows any of their American history, you know.
Or history.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm talking about recent history. Oh. You know, President Lyndon Johnson was a racist. Let's just call it what it is, right?
Yep.
Dr. King sat down in front of this man. He's the one that signed the Voters' Right Act.
Pressure.
So sometimes you have to. Yeah. And I'm sure that there are conflicting nations that have leaders that are sitting across from each other talking and having dialogue. I don't understand why when we do it, it's tap dancing or whatever. But let's address this
that's why we got to start being mindful about how we speak about each other in these spaces. So we be the first to tap dance on each other and call it some tap dancing. You feel what I'm saying? It's like it don't even be the white people that be saying that. They be like, hold on, if we just sit and wait and watch, they'll do it to themselves.
Exactly.
We just got to wait and watch for them to do it.
They got to sit there and just watch us tear each other down.
Right. They're like, ooh, Ice Cube did Tucker Carlson. It's like, oh, white people are like, I can't wait.
Yeah.
To see what the black people are going to do.
Especially the white ones on the left.
To the black man.
They're like, okay, well, they'll send their minions out there to start the fire.
They're like, great, we don't have to do this work this time. Yay, let's go get some scotch and some cigars.
Andrew Green with Super Chat says, is the Purple Tape the first collabo album with two MCs that weren't a duo already? To me, Ghost being the co-star counts as an unofficial collabo. Well, we got The Chronic.
And we got 3 solo songs from Ray.
Yeah. I think that The Chronic and Doggy, not Doggy.
And the 3 solo songs are great. It would be different if Ray didn't sound great without Ghost. It's like, no, the 3 solo songs are Incarcerated Scarfaces, Spot Rushers, and Knowledge God. Like, no, those are great records. So
Leroy Green with the Super Chat says, respectfully, if Tucker Carlson or Fox asked A2HH to come on their platform, you would, because you think it's just about conversation and understanding, but ask Tucker to come on A2HH, and he's going to say no. Well, I don't know if that's a comparative comparison, because Ice Cube doesn't have a show. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a little different. I feel what he's saying.
I get what Leroy is trying to say. He's trying to disseminate the fact that it's like, oh, we got to step into their space, but they wouldn't step into ours. But first of all, like, Ice Cube made a choice to talk to everybody, and
he said that.
And whether you respect the choice or not, he made it clear. He said, I'll talk to everybody. So it's not like him doing the interview with Tucker Carlson. It's him pivoting off some stance. The stance was that I will talk to everybody. So this is actually lock in step with what his message has been as far as that concern. As far as like white people stepping into a black space to do it, like, quite frankly, they don't do it because we don't fucking welcome them in the space. Too, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what fucking hip hop podcast is out here trying to get Tucker Carlson on?
Why would he even be on there?
Purpose being what?
Exactly.
Ice Cube purpose is to disseminate some of the information about his business and how he feels like he's been treating. And about doing that, he says, I will talk to everybody.
And about his contract for Black America.
We don't need Tucker ass for nothing on According to Hip Hop.
Yeah.
Respectfully, if we did, I'd be like, hey, Tucker, we'd love for you to come on According to Hip Hop. But quite frankly, we're not having a left wing versus right wing conversation.
Yeah. And honestly, you know, and I think it's noteworthy, and Cube said this in the interview as well.
It's a great interview.
Yeah, it is a great interview. They wouldn't let him on The View, right? Oprah turned him down for interviews. Oprah wouldn't let him on even to promote Barbershop. The rest of the cast was invited, and he wasn't invited. So in spaces where you feel like shady. These are your people, and you get denied from those spaces, and you get invited to spaces that could possibly be hostile. And again, this is nothing new for Cube. Cube was doing this in 91, 92, going on these hostile environments when nobody in hip-hop was doing this. Mm-hmm. So this isn't like some 2023 thing. Cube was going on CNN when CNN wasn't liberal left. It wasn't welcoming hip-hop on and talking about gangster rap, explaining gangster rap to quote-unquote middle Americans. He's been doing this. This is just that updated version of that, in my opinion. We get to some of these super chats real quick.
No, go ahead.
Jay Short says, I think that Leroy may be projecting. He remembers Jay Buck dancing in front of Roger Goodell in the NFL, selling out Cap for a few halftime shows. Interesting point, Jay Short. TJ with the super chat says, Cube said when the talking stops, the fighting begins. Too many people are scared to talk to others who think differently. Shaking my head.
So I say everybody's soft.
Yeah, Jay Short with the super chat says, people who don't defend their advocates will find themselves with no advocates. Facts.
Right.
Jay Short spit knowledge over here.
Bars.
Andrell Green with the super chat says, Chronic is more of a producer/MC pairing, though. Purple Tape is 2 MCs. No shade to Dre, though. Of course.
Just real quick, think about how great the low-end theory is, Mike, and you tell me the records that you think you about to win with.
That's an interesting point.
Right.
And I love the low-end
Think about
theory.
how a lot of people think the low-end theory is a top 10 rap album, and there are some people that have the low-end theory #1, and I'm like, well, have you heard the Purple Tape? And how can you say that having heard the Purple Tape? There ain't enough songs on the low-end theory to compete with the Purple Tape, just so we're clear. Keep going.
KC1 with the super chat says, Jay's been doing only interviews with racist whites. Cube has been canceled since his contract with Black America. Okay. What were you about to say? I told you to hold your thought. Were we going to cover that racism part?
Yeah, I think we need to cover it because, well, let's try to take a step back and look at it from the purview of somebody like Ice Cube, who is literally being blackballed by some black people. Mm-hmm. Do you know what it's like to be blackballed?
I do.
I do,
but I'm
too.
sure it's like to the nth degree with him.
I do too. Part of the reason why I took the job that I just took is because I realized in my job search that I had been blackballed in my own industry, in my own city, where I've trained a lot of people and given a lot of people jobs. And it took a company based out of New York to actually extend an appropriate job offer to me. There's nothing like that feeling of knowing that somebody has you boxed in and don't want to let you out the box.
Right.
It is something that you probably have to experience as a black man to understand that it's like, oh no, when you get in that box, you want the opportunity out of the box.
Right.
And so from his perspective, race probably doesn't matter as much right now because he's like, well, my message ain't about race. My message is really more about equality. Mm-hmm. It's more about and he talked about it, it's more about the financial inaccuracies and inadequacies that are going on with the black community. Because here's the thing. He talked about race, but he also specifically referenced the inequality in terms of financing available to blacks to start their own business and brought up the wealth inequality and how it affects blacks. I hate to be the one to break it to black people that may not be in the know. You know the #1 thing that affects our blackness here in America? Finance.
Yeah.
So he is actually discussing the biggest race issue outside of the racism itself.
Exactly. And I think
so you're asking him to address #1 instead of #2. When we've been addressing #1 for I don't know how long, and motherfuckers keep telling us to let it go, and then we don't get the support that we need from our own community when we do address it. Mike, when I make posts about racism on my social media, everybody who claims they love me fucking disappears. Everybody's scared, including in our own community.
Yeah.
So what we're not about to do is pull up on Ice Cube. From his perspective, from what his agenda is, race doesn't matter in his agenda because his agenda is to get you to understand the financial inequality.
Exactly.
We can talk about our blackness once we start addressing the financial inequality because he's already been on the other side. I don't know if you've heard an Ice Cube record or 50, Mike, about addressing these black and white issues.
He's the one that's not scared.
Maybe
it's so crazy.
Maybe you should listen
it.
to Straight Outta Compton or America's Most Wanted or Death Certificate. It's like he's been addressing those
Black
issues
Korea,
on that level.
He's literally he makes the most fearless music we've ever seen.
He literally, Mike, he literally has addressed the black and white issue even more than Tupac has, specifically. Yep. Like just so we're clear about what his social commentary and ethos was as a rapper. So it's like when people are pulling up saying it's like, well, Ice Cube doesn't care about race. It's like, well, probably not the way that he did when he made America's Most Wanted.
I think,
or Death Certificate.
Well, this is
fucking Straight Outta Compton, because them is albums about him being the nigga that you love to hate.
But see, this is the thing, though, Coop, and I think that...
Now, where'd he get that from?
I think his frustration from that is the fact that when you start talking about race, some people could use that and pull it and make it a distraction and make it about something else and do nothing about it. I want to finish because I don't want people to take me out of context. You know what I mean? Because people will take a comment like that and just run. But no, I think where he's coming from with it is very clear that he understands the racial disparities or he would have never came up with the contract with Black America in the first place. I think what he's saying is like, listen, we're not going to get caught up in that because some people will like to talk about that and then do nothing about it. Okay, there's racism. What are we going to do about it? This is what we're going to do about it. Let's focus on what we're going to do about it as opposed to just talking about racism is a problem. Racism is a problem. Clearly it is, right? Or he wouldn't have spent his time where he could be doing anything in the world putting together a contract for Black America in the first place. So I think that whatever people are trying to pull and run with is null and void because obviously the actions speak to the latter. You know what I mean?
He's documented on wax talking about these issues.
Exactly.
It's like,
so you want to take one excerpt from an interview where an interviewer could have been trying to catch him up and, you know, change the subject.
Well,
you know?
also too, let's understand interviews get edited, and there was a point in the interview where Tucker literally told Ice Cube, he said, "We've been sitting here talking all day."
Exactly.
And so,
the edits on the interview were bad too, by the way. Now I will give people that. If people had a problem with the edits on the interview.
I said the interview was good, not the production.
Yeah. Leroy Green with the super chat says, you guys don't know what Tucker Carlson's audience have been saying about Oprah, who has never covered hip hop her whole career. Not just Cube.
Look here.
So when Cube threw her under the bus, it was a dog whistle to them. Dog whistle in what way?
Look here,
listen,
Oprah ain't got it like that over here the way y'all be talking because she don't be over here like that. It's like endorsing Obama don't get you some sort of lifetime pass in the black community. It's like, no. I'm going to tell you like it says down in the King Center from Coretta Scott King. You have to fight for freedom in every generation. So stop kicking that Oprah shit to me. Like, please.
Well, this is what I would ask. And the fact that
like,
Leroy said
Oprah
what he
talk.
said.
What Oprah be pulling
What is
up
Oprah's problem with hip-hop?
What Oprah be pulling up on?
Hip-hop is the youth. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really want to reach the youth and get to the youth, what's your problem with hip-hop? Louis Farrakhan doesn't have a problem with hip-hop. You know what I mean? Like, even Reverend Al Sharpton doesn't have a problem with hip-hop. What's Oprah's real problem with hip-hop? Have we ever really, delved into that? What's the problem?
Mike, I don't give a damn.
Oprah
need to go. Oprah need to go. Maybe somebody need to put Oprah ass on the couch and she can talk to somebody and work that shit out. That ain't our problem that Oprah don't like hip hop. That's what I'm saying. It's like, stop making it seem like him telling the truth about Oprah is like some sort of like desecration we weren't aware of. It's like, no, Oprah ain't been fucking with hip hop in the hip hop space for the entirety of the time that she's had her notoriety and billionaire fame.
I think what Leroy wants is the fact that
like interviewing Jay-Z ain't enough. I'm sorry.
Well,
that don't count.
I could go into that, but
you don't want to.
I think what Leroy wants is the fact that because Tucker Carlson's audience feels a way about Oprah, he didn't want Ice Cube to go up there and tell the truth and the fact that Oprah didn't invite him to the show. If she didn't invite him to the show, that's on her.
Right.
Am I supposed to
lie
that
for
didn't
you?
happen?
Am I supposed to lie for you?
She clearly doesn't care about Cube.
I'm supposed to lie for you when you don't support me or support the genre of music and culture that I've made myself wealthy off of.
Exactly.
But I'm supposed to lie for you.
And honestly,
like we homies.
It's progressive what Cube does too.
I mean, when somebody actually, when you do have love for somebody, Mike, you actually don't lie to him. Like when Willie D and Scarface were having that whole back and forth about the Grammy thing, it's like, no, that's that real love too, where it's like, no, my G, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All he's saying is it's like, no, he didn't even say he didn't like her. All he said was
he just
that,
told what happened.
He said, well, you know, she invited the whole cast of Barbershop except for me.
We're not supposed to say that though.
Is that illegal?
Right. We're not. So if Oprah does something, it was similar to what's her name? The actress. I'm tripping. From Precious, the comedian.
I know who you're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, y'all tell me in the chat, man. It was brain freeze. But anyway, when she was telling people that Oprah invited her out to fly her out to kind of, you know, shut her up pretty much, for lack of a better term, people got mad at her like you're not supposed to tell that. Like, that's what happened. That's your experience. But I guess if somebody on another side did the same thing, you're supposed to let everybody know. I don't know.
I mean,
again,
it's very problematic.
I don't understand what the issue is. I think that Cube kind of, and I like to bring up Kanye in this sense too, because I think that even though they're totally different individuals, they have a whole straightforward, I don't give a fuck attitude, and you never have to guess what they're thinking. They're non-politically correct. I'll put it that way. And to quote Ye,
they're not the same, but okay.
They're not the same.
Okay.
But they tell you where they're coming from, and they're fearless
honest with
in that
you.
way.
They're honest, yes. Their honesty is very comparable.
And like Kanye said, man, what would Tupac do? If Tupac was around in these times,
he would say, see Dolores Tucker, you's a motherfucker.
Exactly.
Instead of trying to help a nigga, you destroy a brother.
Yeah.
Worse than the others, Bill Clinton, Mr. Bob Dole. You're too old to understand the way the game goes.
Mm-hmm.
You're lame, so I got to hit you with the hot tracks.
Tupac was coming to Democrats. But see, back then, I guess everybody was tough enough to take it. But now, I guess, we're not supposed to do that. Max with the
Ice
super
Cube
chat.
addressed some of this on Hand of the Dead Body on the Diary.
Mm-hmm. Max with the super chat says, Cube better than Biggie. Oh, yeah. Jadarian with the super chat says, centering celebrity is the issue. Carlson isn't LeBron James and Cube isn't King. They don't have to be, though.
Don't have to be.
You know what I mean? Like, it could be just two men having a conversation. I mean, Cube doesn't have to have... Listen. And I say this a lot, too.
Go ahead.
People want to talk about Cube's credentials and, you know, staying in lane. There was a lot of that talk that he was talking about in the interview. Do people understand that, you know, Dr. King never was political office? Like, he never got voted into any level of political office, but was able to make change with just his
literally
knowledge.
Changed his whole federal system.
Yeah, without being...
Literally changed his whole federal system without ever being elected.
Do y'all know if he even majored in political science? I don't know.
He's a C student at Morehouse. Malcolm X isn't even college educated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You change the world with your voice, you know, all that credential shit.
You change the world with your intentions. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. It's like when you kick in this Oprah shit, it's like that's the best that we doing as a people. I don't like how he talked about Oprah. Nigga, please.
He told the truth. Like
told the truth about Oprah.
He didn't say anything bad about it. He just told what his experience was.
I wish a motherfucker would say something. It's like, no, he told the truth.
And then when Tucker Carlson even kind of delved in deeper and was like, well, why would she do something like that? He's like, I don't know.
That's what, guess what? You know what? See, this is what I'm saying, and this is where people's feelings about race really get into it. You know what Tucker Carlson did when that happened? That's called asking a follow-up question when you're a journalist.
Yeah.
But people look at it because of his base. It's like, oh, he's trying to get more dirt on Oprah. It's like, no, he's a journalist. That was a great question with a great answer. You usually try to ask a follow-up question. Yeah. It's like, oh,
and Cube didn't throw her under the bus. He could have went further.
And he could have been like, well, you know, because here's the thing about it. She's mentioned him before on her original talk show and threw some shade. Yeah, that's happened. So she's had this issue for a while. And it's like, I know he probably remember that. It's like, no, he could have sat down and been like, well, if you really want to tell the truth.
Yeah, I'm sure they have a whole Rolodex.
Right. Cube memory long. You can tell. It's like, oh, no, this ain't the first time Oprah done kind of with the stiff arm. So it's like, he addressing it. He addressed it in a way that I feel was very like affable because he's like, well, you know, I did this movie called Barbershop, and you know the cast was invited to
Common
the show.
included.
Right.
What makes him different? Because Common's hip hop. If we want to use that hip hop excuse, the whole Barbershop cast comes from hip hop.
But what's Common? But what's Common's rhetoric on record? and what's Cube's rhetoric on record. That's what I'm saying. Like, what people really need to understand.
I thought they were both revolutionaries.
Better stop that shit. But what people really need to understand about Ice Cube is that part of why Ice Cube is speaking out on these things, I don't think people understand. Ice Cube's been getting treated this way by the white establishment and by large fractions of the wealthy black establishment almost the entirety of his whole career, because he is the author of Straight Outta Compton. He is the author of America's Most Wanted. He is the author of Death Certificate. Do you understand him? We as black people need to understand him espousing these things on record for us in the hip hop format is really why he gets all of this.
Do you understand how wild the album cover for Death Certificate is?
Right, and we actually got black people that think Ice Cube is selling out, and it's like, you understand this is happening to him because he didn't sell out,
exactly.
Right? And if you're I don't want to use ignorant as the word, but it's like, no, you are foolish if you think that, though. You're not.
Why
you may not be ignorant, but you're definitely
let
foolish.
Him on The View?
Right.
Why wouldn't they let him on The View?
Why wouldn't Oprah invite him to, the movie he fucking created?
Yeah. It's wild.
Like, when has Oprah ever had a cast of people on and the director or the executive producer aren't in? Like, think about it, y'all.
And honestly, man, let's keep it all the way above. If we want to talk about, being a model citizen out here, Ice Cube's nose is clean. There's no reason to not invite him on The View.
I told
you.
He
hasn't assaulted anybody. He hasn't gotten any scandals. You know what I'm saying? He's a family man. His son's out here acting, having a successful career. He's built his business. You know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't you have Cube on The View?
My daughter, before her formative years, thought he was the guy from Are We There Yet? She said, that's the guy from Are We There Yet? I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to play Straight Outta Compton right now.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Ye is a terrible example. Nah. Leroy Green with the $20 super chat, showing love, but I'm sure he's gonna throw something at us. He says, again, brothers, Oprah hasn't had rappers on her platform for almost her whole career.
Right.
Because she's not from hip hop. When Jay asked to come, he told her to meet him and Marcy to show her what the culture was about. So you're telling me that Oprah is oblivious to black culture? Is that what you're telling me, Leroy? What? You do know Oprah's from Mississippi, right?
And based her business out of where?
Chicago.
What are we doing?
So she needed to go to Marcy Projects to actually see what black society looked like?
I mean, heaven
Leroy.
forbid she should step out of Harpo Studios and, I don't know, go to the south side or the west side, which is right there.
You're giving her way too many passes on that, man. Don't do that.
But do you see the grace? You see how the grace is unequally yoked when it comes to some people?
Some people get every pass in the world.
But what has Oprah done for us that y'all are giving out this pass, Leroy? Like, what has Oprah done for you?
Raka Shaba, the super chat, says only one political party supports the Confederacy.
For me, I love Oprah's contribution to people being aware of
openly.
How great.
Raka Shah.
I love Oprah's contribution to the literary world.
Oh, she's an incredible journalist.
With the book, no, I'm talking about the book club shit. I'm not even talking about her as a journalist. Yeah. I'm talking about the book club and getting somebody like Toni Morrison, who is arguably the greatest writer ever, some of the notoriety she deserves. But outside of those contributions, it's when I look around at our community, it's no, Ice Cube got more right to talk about Oprah than Oprah got to do about Ice Cube in this community. It's I don't know what community that y'all are living in. Because that getting Obama elected, that shit don't do nothing for me, Mike.
Don't get me started.
I told you, I want my premium gas at $3.39, the $3.29 to $3.39. I want a pack of chicken, not to cost the price of a Hyundai. That ain't got shit to do with Oprah and Obama.
I think Oprah is an incredible journalist, and as a journalist myself, I do admire her style and her interviewing style and those things.
She's a great interviewer.
You don't have to do.
Who she be interviewing? J.K. Rowling.
All kind of people. But listen, people could do whatever they want to do, but I do have a problem when you block people from your platform without reason. Why would somebody that is important to black culture as Ice Cube be blocked from anybody's platform?
No, that's the problem. That's why I keep bringing up Obama, though, because it's oh, no. To get accepted by some of these black elitists, you have to be in Obama.
You can't be
an Ice Cube.
You have to be part of that boule black intellectual class.
Or you at least need to give off the effervescence of it, which you're speaking in your tone. Obama might, hey, and then go step out back and smoke a Newport.
So you think Common fits that motif? I mean, she lets him on the show. It is what it is.
What do you think, Mike?
I think so. He dresses the part. He talks the part. And,
he stays quiet and does what he's told.
It's very, You know, I never thought I would say
That's
that
the part.
Common was that safe, but yeah, Common's become very safe.
Mike, he was never really not that.
Yeah.
It was never really that.
There was kind of edge here and there, but you know,
On the battle records, yes, but he's always been a very introspective and reflective rapper. Like nothing about his material was ever dangerous or edgy like that, and that's okay. It was still dope, still great material. But it's like he was never that guy anyway. So it's like when you're saying is he safe, it's like, oh well, he's kind of always been safe after Resurrection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay Short with the super chat says Oprah had Jay on her show because Jay is safe. Oprah is like a lot of black folks. They don't like hip hop because it makes white folks uncomfortable. Said a lot there.
White folks need to be made to feel uncomfortable.
Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, you can Google how much Oprah has done for black people before throwing her under the bus. So Tucker can pat you on the back just so Cube can move the needle for the big three. Leroy, this is the thing, man. If it was like that, Coop shouldn't have to go Google anything. You should have been able to say that in your super chat.
Thank you, Mike.
I mean, let's just be perfectly honest.
Let's keep it real. If her contributions was like that,
you would be able to say that in your super chat. We wouldn't have to go Google anything.
How about this? Here's something that I know. Michael Jordan just gave up some of his share of ownership, but do you know Michael Jordan has employed more black people than any other NBA owner during his tenure?
Exactly.
I can say that about Mike off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Now give me some Oprah shit. I wait.
Yeah.
Right. I read too. I be following the stuff too. I told you I appreciate the literary contributions.
Yeah.
Mike, that's my nice way of saying it. It's like, oh, she ain't do for black people like that. It's like, oh, we going to talk about a school in Africa?
I mean, that's fine. Again.
No, that's great.
That's her prerogative. That's her work. You know, she could do whatever she wants with her legacy. But Mike, to block others who are important to the culture, there's no apologizing.
This is what I mean. She opened a school in Africa. But, Mike, you want to know what I'm saying? Is it's like, oh, but will you step outside Harpo Studios and, like, feed a homeless man like I be doing down at my job, down in the city every day? You feel what I'm saying?
Well, like, I don't know if she does that or doesn't. You know what I mean?
I'm talking about, like, the intention of it. And it's like, so stop making it seem like people coming from Oprah. It's like, if it was like that, we would talk about her in this community like that. Because when people do in this community like that, we talk about it, Mike. We know who doing what for us.
Well, the thing is, man, when you turn your back to hip-hop like that, which is black culture and which is black youth culture, especially in the time she was coming up, it's like this is what happens 20, 30 years later. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we really have to go on? Like, what's her problem with embracing hip-hop? Not all of hip-hop is, you know what I'm saying, 6'4s, bitches, or whatever they want to say. Like,
he said hip hop only bitches and alcohol.
Yeah, like,
oh hell no.
There's a lot of great hip hop to go out there and embrace.
Let's go to Jay right quick. Mm-hmm. It's like, who helped Meek Mill with his legal problems?
Jay.
21 Savage.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? What about Pusha T, like helping out Flint, Michigan? You get what I'm saying? It's like, stop making it seem like we know who's contributing. That's what I'm saying.
And
it's
that's
like,
just on the surface. It's no telling how many jobs that hip hop has provided outside of the artists, outside of the managers, outside of how can you hate that?
How WTF
how
SMH?
Can you hate that?
Hold on, how does WTF SMH with Jan Sport J on the second half end?
Yeah.
Community love, providing jobs. Why would you try to come from me? Why you ain't proud of Nas?
How can you not be proud of hip hop?
How can you not want to take?
And how can we accept that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and sit there and be like, oh well, you know, Oprah just don't fuck with hip hop. Hip hop's 50. How old is Oprah? She's not too much older than that. You know what I mean? It's not like she's 100 years old. Like, you can embrace hip-hop and understand all the great things that hip-hop has done for black culture in America, period. So I think that's a cop-out, in my personal opinion.
It's super weak, Mike.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Andrew and I talk about this on Mirror Music. The things that black people in this country has been indoctrinated into. Oprah is one of those things, though. It's like, nah, fam, I want the receipts. Because it's like, well, I come from a place and come from a hip hop culture where it's like, oh no, Ice Cube is forever more relevant than Oprah to me. And nothing about that in my 40s is about to change, because for the entirety of the time previous, when Oprah, like what, where, in what sphere?
Who Oprah put on? I got Mike Epps over here for Cube.
Hold on. No. I believe the person.
Cube done put on a whole bunch of folks.
Hold on. I believe the person she put on is Gail. And what Gail do to Snoop? You see what I'm saying about how.
And Kobe. Rest in peace to Kobe.
I believe we call, Mike, the legal terminology, that'd be called fruit from a poisonous tree.
Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, I resent the shots at Common talking about doing what he's told.
No
one
true.
said that.
I did say that.
Oh, you said that?
Yeah, I said
just because and Cube
are
not running the same race, don't make him a tap dancer.
No, I didn't say he was tap dancing, but he do be doing what he's told, in my opinion.
Come on, man. You know,
stop playing.
That's not really a shot at Common. It's just kind of, you know.
Kanye ran for president, didn't he? Didn't your boy run for president?
I had a problem with
Hold on, did your boy run for president? And Mike, Finding Forever is Common's first chart-topping album. It's the first album he had got #1. Who produced that?
B is the reason that the Democratic Party even utilizes Common to the level they do now.
And what'd he do?
He went out there and was campaigning and performing for Joe Biden in 2020. And again, like, that's your prerogative. And if you don't want to...
Like he was told to. Stop trying to kick that shit to me. That's what I'm saying. Like, Mike, I want to make this clear.
I want to make this clear.
What my eyes see is what I
because I know what
believe.
people are going to say in the chat. They're going to be like, well, Mike wanted Kanye to be president. I'm not saying that.
I want Ice Cube to be president.
All I'm saying is the guy who elevated your career to the level where you can be used by such forces, I wouldn't go out there openly and go against that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were running for president, you know what I'm saying? And let's just say for whatever reason, like, you know what, Coop wouldn't be a good president. What is he doing? Yada, yada. I would never openly go out there and support another candidate. Now, if Common wanted to go in the ballot booth and Mark Biden over Kanye, fine, do whatever you want. But publicly to do that, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Now, Mike, when I'm saying he's doing as he's told, now we can take it to the streets and frame that another kind of way. You feel what I'm saying? Because in the streets, that would be looked at, and the verbiage used would be totally different. And the verbiage being used wouldn't be as kind as, well, he's just doing what he's told.
Right.
So understand, even when I'm saying that, I'm being kind.
That's code, man.
Yeah.
Jay Short with the super chat says Oprah defended Don Imus when he disrespected those black girl ball players. I remember that.
Well,
Michael Williams with the super chat says Michael Jordan gives back and you don't know it like LeBron does, but it's seldom they show it. 10 points. Andre Miller with the super chat says Jay raised $20 million for poor local kids on the same day of the Book of Hov event, and y'all didn't mention it. Y'all made fun of him. Still love y'all though. I didn't know that.
First of all, we didn't make fun of him.
We didn't make fun of him.
And second of all, we weren't aware.
I wasn't aware of that.
But we did I literally just referenced Jay and some of the contributions that he's made to helping other people within this sphere and culture. Because we know that he's done those things. Just like I know Michael Jordan has employed tons of black people more so than all these other white NBA owners. No, I know these things, so I can speak to these things and say, no, that person is helping contribute to the progression of this community in some sort of way.
And let me be clear, Jay and them ain't got to do this. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. This is like Prince when he paying Lauryn Hill's like taxes and stuff.
You ain't got to do that.
You ain't got to do that.
Honestly, a lot of this stuff that happens in the community and, when people like Jay have to step up and raise money for kids in the community, those are things that elected officials should be doing. The people that go out there and come to you and ask for your vote, those are initiatives they should be doing with the money that the taxpayers are paying, you know what I'm saying? And making sure things are allocated. So it's unfortunate that the entertainers even have to step up and do those things, first of all. And then it gets to a point where they become something like, yo, you got to do this. Like, no, they don't have to do any of this stuff. So, Mike, shout out to them for even doing that.
Now, Mike, in the issue of fairness, I'll tell you something that came up with the spaces with JanSport Jay and with Taj. It was Eminem's numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And Eminem does his best numbers in Detroit, Mike. And it's not because Detroit necessarily gets down with M on the musical level.
Yeah.
It's because M is giving back to the community in the city of Detroit.
And they're giving back to him.
Literally.
That's what
almost
it is.
More than any other rapper, black or white, gives back to their city.
Yeah.
And they respond in turn by running it up.
M loves Detroit. M loves Michigan.
But you get what I'm saying? So it's like, no, but I hear that. That's literally probably the fourth time in the past 8 months that I've had Taj tell me something about Eminem's contributions to his home community.
He contributes to hip hop and everything. You know what I mean? Now,
Mike,
I
Shade
say
45 has done more for black artists than almost anybody in the past 10, 20 years in hip hop.
Everything I say about Eminem is strictly music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's nothing personal.
So understand, and I'm saying this respectfully, understand somebody like Eminem, because I know what I know he contributes to this community. Oh, that shit matter more than Oprah do up in here. People need to wake the fuck up.
Jay Short with the super chat says Leroy is all cap. I believe she had Cube on to blame hip hop for Don Imus derogatory comments against black women. But yeah,
right. Hold on. I see somebody in the chat talking about how we give back. We literally just did a whole Juneteenth event. Like I literally have ended the last two of the last three shows talking about the school give back that's literally taking place this Friday at FDL Compound, and I've asked people that if they'd like to donate to reach out to me. That's what I'm saying. We literally started pulling up on Metropolitan Avenue about giving back to the community. Like don't play with me. I'm out here giving back too much. Like I'm out here really giving back, Mike. Like I'm
even
giving the
having
change.
These conversations.
Mike. I'm literally giving the change out to the homeless in the city. Like when I have money on me, I'm literally feeding the homeless in the area. Like stop playing with me. Like my shit is live like daily. Like not for TV.
And to bring that around, man. I know we don't have a whole lot of time left, man. To bring that around, Cube has done too much for hip hop, for the black community, and for Black America. Period. For people to flip on him because of how things look. This seems like an optics thing as opposed to
You're not
substance.
allowed to interview with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Says who?
Do y'all listen?
I don't see Oprah interviewing
the people
him.
who are on YouTube right now, I mean, and I do this all the time. When I'm working during the day, I'll go look up old clips of Malcolm X, right? When Malcolm was on TV, who was he sitting across from?
Bunch of white men.
A bunch of enemies. So, you know what I mean? Nobody agreed with anything
colonizers
that he was on. Every time that he sat across from somebody, it was somebody who was his, that was going against anything that he was about.
Mike, he literally.
Why did we change?
Like, because he. You want, Mike, because he had the goods, Mike.
Yeah.
And that be the problem with these guys and what they don't understand about what Ice Cube is doing. Why Ice Cube can do this because Ice Cube got the goods.
Mm-hmm.
And
everything standing on the truth.
And here's the thing: everything has changed so much for us and for real, the moral value of the black community, you know what I'm saying? And this is why Ice Cube kind of stresses some of these things. It's like the moral value is so low because all we're worried about is each other's personal finances instead of the overall financial equality. Mm-hmm. And he sees that from somebody that's escaped that part of his life.
He's actually doing something
and
about
he's
it. Actually
trying to actually do something about it.
And gets criticized.
And the fact that people can't see that in this community is a little debilitating, to be quite frank with you.
Yeah. Like Jay Short said, man, you continue to bash your advocates, you won't have any advocates.
Like what Malcolm X did, and part of even why the Nation of Islam is what it is today here in America, is that Malcolm X stepped to the table, and anybody that had something for him, he systemically, institutionally, and intelligently got them to understand that what they were doing was fundamentally wrong, and that he understood it and could say it in a manner without it coming off as, I don't know, too street, too black, to a lot of things. It was just, no, these are the facts. These are the rules. Even getting into biblical scripture, which he had to do a lot because people had a problem with him being Muslim. It's like, no, he came with the goods. And it's like now when we actually have black men that come with the goods, it's like, y'all want to hand me Oprah? And say you shouldn't have done that to Oprah? It's like, no, y'all shouldn't be doing this to Ice Cube.
Exactly. Jay Short with the super chat says, so y'all want some grown men you don't know to give back to you, your community, but attack Cube for demanding officials that you elected to give you something.
Right.
It's wild, right?
It's wild. Like where is our fundamental teaching in this community, Mike, that this is even occurring? Like these are the things that make me worry about us as a community. It's like, where is the fundamental teaching and instruction taking place to understand that Ice Cube is here to help? Mm-hmm. This community. He's already helped himself. Yeah. Now, there are other people, I'm not going to say their name because we already talked to them. Well, they have helped themselves, and they help this community at their leisure, and only in the facets and in the areas that they like getting somebody nominated for president. Now, I don't know who you were taught to rock with in this community, but I know who I was taught to rock with. And so that's what I mean is like, well, what happened to the teaching? Because this appears to be, it usually comes down to education and information, Mike.
Yeah.
And it just feels like, when it comes to even our own blackness in this country, sometimes it's like, well, we're not educated and informed enough I'm glad you brought up Malcolm X and him like literally sitting around his adversaries almost the entirety of all of his speaking engagements.
Yeah.
He never sat down with other black leaders.
Even
the black leaders were his adversaries. The other black leaders were his adversaries. They didn't even want to sit down with him. When he was on
television, he was never sitting down with people who agreed with him.
Yes.
Everybody he sat down across
was a dissenter.
Exactly.
Everybody.
And he stood on the truth. It wasn't like he was talking some radical, out of pocket stuff. He was talking about justice, And nobody had a problem with that then. But now, for whatever reason, that's an issue.
And one of the main things that he addressed, and here's where him and Dr. King were different. It's like, well, Dr. King was fighting for the equality of the races. Malcolm was talking about the institutionalization of it, though, and how it fundamentally and psychologically it left us broken.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? It's like, now, how is it okay in that time and we still renown and revere him? Do you not listen? Are you not hearing what Ice Cube is saying?
Exactly.
It's like, you're not listening to what Ice Cube is saying.
The critiques is who he's sitting down with, as opposed to what's being said.
So this is more about the black people not liking the white man that he's sitting down with, is what it sounds like. You feel what I'm saying? And that's
he
fucking
sat down
sad.
With everybody. He sat down with the Breakfast Club.
But you see what? But you see what made news though?
Yeah, it would be one thing. It would be one thing if he only sat down with Tucker Carlson and he denied going on other platforms or something like that. He's gone on every platform. The other platforms have denied him.
I don't think you're hearing me totally like all the way though, Mike. It's like, how long has Ice Cube been on this tour? Because I feel like we've been talking about it for about a month.
Yeah, about a month.
Okay. Ice Cube's a businessman, and he's a smart man, a brilliant thinker, a mastermind. This one interview has gotten more traction and talked about than all the other interviews he did combined.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, that's why he did it. Because he realized that his own people weren't listening to his message. And it took him going on another platform to get people to wake the fuck up and start at least listening to what he has to say. And that's what I'm talking about how sad it is. It's like all of you who are coming for Ice Cube right now, like you're sad and part of the problem, because had you been doing your job to begin with, he wouldn't have to go on Tucker Carlson. You're part of the fucking problem, not the solution, if you think that way. Because the reality of the matter is that he's been going mostly on black shows.
Yep.
And what has the response been?
Ice Cube's on another show.
And now that he goes and does it on a right-wing network with somebody who is not very well liked in this community, now you want to give a damn.
You're listening.
Now you're paying attention. Now you're listening. Maybe you should be fucking listening from the jump and he wouldn't have to do it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. This probably wasn't even part of the plan, but about him disseminating his message because his people are not listening. He has to, quote unquote, go to a white man's show and a white man's network to get his own people to pay attention. Now, how fucking sad are we? We trying to make it seem like it's Ice Cube. Like I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed.
Leroy Green with a super chat says, Coop, Dr. King got his civil rights laws signed. Did Cube have Tucker Carlson sign his contract with Black America? Well, this is the thing.
Here we go with this. Okay.
He was able to...
Well, Dr. King had the people behind him because people were paying attention.
Well, no, you know what? Yeah, that too. But
that's the main thing.
But let's keep it real. Lyndon Johnson, and there was a lot going on then. Black people were turning up. It wasn't just the sit-ins. It wasn't just that, right? He actually sat down with Dr. King. Now, ask if the sitting president is willing to sit down with Ice Cube about his contract.
Ice Cube just told you that the one guy that was in the cabinet that was speaking to him is no longer part of the cabinet, which is pretty much where that conversation died.
So you need to blame that part.
Meanwhile,
and not the fact that he actually took an invite to somebody who has an audience that would listen to some of his messages.
Here's how serious and how broken the train of thought is. Dr. King was talking to John F. Kennedy first, and Kennedy got assassinated and actually still was able to create the channel through Lyndon Johnson because Lyndon Johnson was the vice president at the time. He kept the channel alive and made it happen. I don't want to hear these bullshit-ass excuses from people that don't know their history and aren't paying attention today.
Or just cherry-picking history and don't want to apply it overall. 36 Chambers with the $20 super chat.
Two presidents, back-to-back presidents, Dr. King was having conversations with about these bills.
And not to mention Kennedy's brother as well.
Correct.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, with $20 super chat, and put some respect on that. He says, I think the critique that is that Tucker Carlson has been anti-black advocate. that has actively pushed a conservative agenda against any non-white community on a massive media platform for years. Should he have addressed that? Well, he's not the person interviewing Tucker Carlson, and maybe he did address it, and he's not the person that is going to do the final edits either. So, like you said, in the interview, he said they've been talking all day. I'm sure he addressed them. Do you ever know Q running from any conversation? Right. I'm sure it came up, probably got edited out in the process. But I think at the end of the day, even with the edits we saw, it was a lot of great information that came across, and that ain't tap dancing, people. I know you got to get up out of here in a second.
Well, hold on 1 second on that. Actually, I need you to take the show for 2 seconds while I make this call.
Okay, cool. We were going to get on that Drake thing. Well, Coop and I were going to close the show out with this whole Drake conversation, man, because Drake is coming at Push, coming at Kenny. He's out here breaking records on concerts. And Coop was telling me offline, I'm sure he's going to say something about it when we get back, that he thinks that Drake is coming for that record that Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers concert set just recently, actually. And another conversation that we had offline that I thought was interesting, Certified Lover Boy. Do you guys think that album's better than Mr. Morale? Because in my personal opinion, I think that it probably is, right? It had the bigger songs. It probably is going to last longer. And imagine what Drake feels when people are heralding Mr. Morale and somehow acting like Certified Lover Boy didn't happen. Oh, we got some more super chats, too.
I got some more time, too. The flight got delayed.
Okay. T-Nitty with the super chat says, Kanye talked to Trump, and people killed him, too. Yeah, but again, you know who else was there? The great Jim Brown. And people try not to even, say anything about that. And rest in peace to Jim Brown.
I wish somebody would say something about Jim Brown.
He comes from a school where you do have to sit across from people who you disagree with.
Yes.
It wasn't just Kanye there. Jim Brown was there.
Yeah. The guy that stood next to Kareem.
And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. And I know Kaepernick got invites to that White House, and I think even that meeting, right? Mm-hmm. I disagree with the people, and there's a lot of big people in media who were saying that he shouldn't go. My thing is, anything you stand on and anything you stand for, you're sitting in the highest office. Regardless if you like that person that's sitting in that office, that's the person that can actually make change, right? You got to go out there and say what you got to say. Listen, I've seen Van Jones get on television and go in on Trump, right? I went to the King Center for an event. Van Jones was there. He was talking about all the things that he went to the White House while Trump was in there and voiced and actually got changed. And he said, now, I don't support the guy, but he got this, and this changed when I went up there and he heard my concerns. That's how you do it. And I totally disagree with the fact that Kaepernick didn't go up there. I think it was a missed opportunity. So, again, I'm not going to throw haymakers at Jim Brown or Ye for going up there in any sort of way. If you want to get some change, and you know what? He was on there talking about free Larry Hoover, was he not?
Hold on. You see how some of us want us to be lock in step with each other at all times? But then we'll just give Oprah a pass. Be like, oh, well, she never really fuck with us like that. It's like, hold on, you don't get to have it bad. You don't get to have it both ways.
Right.
No, we got to stop this hypocrisy. We got to stop this foolish behavior.
Darius Campbell with the super chat says, appreciate you sticking up for Cube. He has never sold us out.
Never.
Yeah.
And
people are acting like he had.
Like of rappers who haven't sold us out.
One of the last ones left.
I got a list. Guess who's on it? It ain't the motherfuckers you think. Like way more guys have sold out and sold pieces of their soul than this guy. This was actually the guy that put everybody else up on game.
It's funny to me when people bring up the big three like this is some money grab for him. You know, the big three is pretty much him employing guys who can't go out there and compete anymore, right? Y'all don't think that's admirable too?
Mike,
shit.
This is the guy that built his empire because he felt like he was financially being taken advantage of by a white man and his friend.
Mm-hmm. And then went and did it in film too. put on countless amounts of people in film.
We don't even know who Chris Tucker really is if it's not. He's
No,
still
it's real.
he gonna be in Atlanta doing radio with Ryan Cameron, Mike. if not for
That's
Ice
real.
Cube, that's real.
That's real. Mike
Epps.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mac 10, Dub C.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think
giving countless black
Lisa
jobs.
Ray has a job now too.
Neil. Hold on. Was
Nia Long was on there too.
Yeah.
Jay Short.
Nia Long came from Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
With him. So
exactly.
But what he put her on.
Yep.
Yep.
Jay Short with the super chat says that's a historic misrepresentation. Dr. King was demanding tangible benefits for the black community. Civil rights was phase 1. He was transitioning to civil rights. He was silver rights.
Workers' rights, workers' compensation.
Cube is on phase 2, definitely. Charles Manning with the super chat says, I have a question off topic. Do you think nowadays people actually love artists more than the actual music that they're putting out? Of course. I think it's always kind of been like that.
That's the conversation we were really having about brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jay Short with the super chat says, MLK even said, LBJ, if you don't deal with me, you deal with these other folks in the streets. He was playing hardball, not playing catch. Play caddy, excuse me. I think we got another super chat. But yeah, there was another thing I was thinking before that kind of took me off. I guess we're going to go to the Drake subject then. I mean, because I know we kind of went back to the Cube thing. Yeah, shout out to Cube.
I mean, we ain't about to stay here like all night, but I do have time now.
Yeah. Somebody was saying that we need to have Tariq Nasheed on the show. I would love to have Tariq Nasheed on the show. I heard he got a hip-hop documentary coming, so we can definitely talk about that too. But yeah.